everybody. This is Out of the Box podcast. I'm your host, Jim Andre, and we got a special guest here today, Donnie Lothridge. How's it going, Donnie?
Doing good, sir. How are you?
Hanging in there, my friend, one day at a time.
Yes, sir.
So it says here, author of Bandit and Outlaw for God. That's your book?
Yes, sir, it is. And it's on Amazon and ebook and Walmart and Barnes and Noble carries it too.
Okay, so it's actually in book form as well, right? Regular print version.
Yes.
That's good. It sounds interesting.
Yes, sir. It covers a lot of my life. So
Yeah, there's a lot of bizarre things that occur in this world that are hard to believe. But I can attest to that. I mean, I myself I'm an alien abductee, so
yes, sir.
that's something I probably wouldn't believe unless I experienced it. Um, well, today's topic is going to be the Hadron Collider, the atom smashing machine that they keep playing with over there. That's buried beneath the French and Swiss border, and they claim it's 17 miles in diameter.
Yes.
That's huge.
Yes,
It
sir.
packs a lot of power. But my guess is that they don't know what they're playing with when it comes to that.
Yes, sir. My question would be, what are they looking for?
Well, I don't know. You know the way man is. Man is never truly satisfied. His ego, I think, gets in his way. Um, you know, whether there is or isn't a God is irrelevant. But I think what the problem is, the concept of there being a God. I think they're in search of the God. And what I think what their main concern is power. They want to have power. So obviously, the 1% that control everything, that's part of the cabal that are experimenting in this manner. So chances are, they're power hungry. It's not enough that they've been controlling the masses for years now. They're never truly satisfied. So I guess they want to become the God that they so long believed in by smashing these atoms and doing these experiments. They say they're in search of the God particle. So I don't know.
Yes, sir. Well, are they looking backward, or are they looking forward, or are they looking at present time, or
Well, who knows? Who knows what might happen? I mean, I think that's an area where we haven't treaded before. Um, they say that you can rip the fabric of space with a nuclear weapon, which I could probably go along with. It sort of like makes sense to me, but it would, to me, it would depend. The result or the percussions would depend on the size of the tear and with what intensity. You know what I mean?
yes,
If
sir.
they want to destroy, rip, tear open, and destroy the fabric of space and time in a lethal manner, who knows what could happen?
Yes, sir.
Will time go backwards? Will it go back to the point where, if in fact nothing existed at one time, would it go all the way back there? In other words, I don't think they know what they're playing with. Chances are there's a great possibility that they could be destroying themselves. They're so intelligent that they're going to outsmart themselves.
Yes, sir.
That's my opinion.
But when they open it up, is it like a vortex that they're going into, or
Well,
I
yeah,
don't really don't
it's
understand it.
it's like creating a portal, like to maybe another dimension,
Hmm.
or maybe a portal to nothingness. Who knows? Uh, You know,
So,
the only way we could figure that out is to get to that point. But that's the hairy part. We don't know what'll result by doing so.
mhm. Can they go? Can they get? So could they go there once they see what they're looking for or find what they're looking for, or are they going to bring whatever they find on this side?
Well, it could be. It's hard to tell, really. I mean, who knows? It could be a two-way street as well. You know,
Yes.
would go in and come out, or you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's something we haven't really accomplished yet.
Yes.
But they're hell bent on power, so that's what's driving them, I would think.
Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, I've got a video on the subject that I'm going to share with the viewers here.
All right.
And we'll watch this, and then we'll make some comments after.
To any one of the 1,477 underground military installations on the planet, then imprisoned for the remainder of their lives. The children were subjected to biological and genetic experiments, dissections, and mutilations performed not by human scientists, but an alien gray species. During my stay at the Vanguard Underground Base north of Phoenix, Arizona, I witnessed many of these procedures. Because there was no form of anesthesia administered to the young patients, the halls reverberated with the screams of tortured children from morning to night. The ones that perished were incinerated in the installation's crematoriums. My point of contact at this base was Lieutenant Colonel Charles T. Leninger, and he was a human-alien hybrid. And get ready for this. In 1994, the World Population Summit in Cairo, Egypt, had 160 nations participate, where they all agreed that the human population was out of control and must be stopped because the world is running out of resources. An agreement was formed that would mandate the reduction of humans from 6 billion to 800 million by the year 2030. This meant finding a method or methods to wipe out nearly 95% of the population. Solutions were discovered, investigated, tested, then created, and have been in full force since. The procedures have been inflicted onto the human race are as follows. 1. Toxic levels of chemically enhanced fluoride have been secretly added to our drinking water over the last 20 years in every city and community on the planet. I personally oversaw the delivery of fluoride barrels to Denver, Chicago, Tampa, and Minneapolis water departments. The adverse effects of fluoride poisoning to the human body are numerous and debilitating. The effects to children is damage to their neurological development, among other serious ailments. 2. Man-made viruses and diseases. The AIDS virus, which was a designer byproduct of the American Disease Institute, was distributed through vaccines to the public in 1980. Instituted as a preliminary population control tactic, the results were successful and led to more lab-produced viruses that have since been unleashed onto the public. Among those is the development of a mutated version of the common flu to replicate the 1918 influenza pandemic that killed 40 million people. The first strain of this new flu virus will be released to the public in late 2017. So if we see a flu outbreak in the late 2017 or early 2018 that's killing people, we'll know this is true.
Right.
3, killing us from the air with neurotoxins, barium chloride, cancer microbes, and viruses by way of chemtrails, released into the skies daily over all inhabited regions by military aircrafts. The effects of these toxins are severe and over time lethal, causing respiratory ailments, cancer, damage to the immune systems, and sterilization in men. Since the chemtrail plan was implemented, sperm count in men has dropped nearly 50%. If this isn't reversed soon, the human race will face early extinction. Now the grand finale. This is some scary shit. In March 1997, an event known as the Phoenix Lights became the most infamous UFO sighting in history. A mile-wide vessel, clearly not man-made, flew slowly and silently over the state of Arizona and was witnessed by 10,000 people, including the governor of Arizona. To date, there has been no reasonable explanation. But for every witness interviewed, the craft was as real as anything they'd ever seen. Their lives were transformed. They now believe that we truly are not alone. However, there is another truth, for I know what they really saw. In 1986, while stationed at an underground installation near Boulder, Colorado, I was introduced to Project Skybeam by Lieutenant General Andrew Garris. I was then led down a corridor and into a large hangar where a stealth bomber hovered only 20 feet above me. I stood there confused. Then Garris looked over at me and smiled, then asked if I was certain of what I was seeing. I replied, of course. What else could it be? I was then shocked to find out that this wasn't a real craft. It was a projected hologram. Since the early 1950s, scientists have been developing holographic technology, and over the years improved it to a state that we can only imagine. As I stood there staring at the bomber, which looked so absolutely real and solid that I could reach up and touch it, I contemplated the possibilities. What if this projection was 1,000 feet up in the sky? How would anyone know that that was an illusion? The Phoenix Lights craft, witnessed by 10,000 people, was the first grand-scale skybeam test upon the public. It succeeded beyond expectations. In October 1938, Orson Welles unleashed his War of the Worlds radio broadcast to the American public. It was so realistically portrayed, vast portions of the population went into panic. Terrified citizens scrambled to evacuate their cities in droves. America had been easily tricked by very simple means. To amplify this response, those who are truly in power, not only our country, but all the countries on the planet, and who are the true purveyors of the depopulation process, have formulated the final stage of their sinister plan. In the year 2024, a global event will alter the course of mankind's future. The world will stand witness to a massive alien invasion. Thousands of projected holographic alien warships will blanket the skies, sending people into a global panic. Real military crafts within the holograms will inflict actual damage to the surrounding areas to sell the gimmick. And as a result of the ensuing human chaos, a one-world government will immediately form without any resistance from the people. They will be the new world order. Once this happens, we as a people will be doomed to enslavement and accelerated depopulation. With that said, the only hope for human salvation is to acquire and spread the knowledge of these activities and agendas. Resist, retaliate, then conquer this imposing enemy. The time is now. As you
see the last part there towards the end of that video, about the false flag alien invasion. I've been predicting that for years now. I knew that was coming. That's why the Pentagon is starting to come out with, oh yeah, possibility exists. There are aliens and unidentified flying objects. After they kept it hush hush for decades, and there's a reason for that. They're up to something, right? Now
Yes.
we have an added branch of service to the government, which is the Space Force, right? And they brag about how good it is and the technology they have, and they can guard the airspace and above the planet and in the air here on Earth and the atmosphere. But yet they tell us, oh, they have no idea what these flying objects are. So what good is Space Force if they don't know anything? And it's supposed to be able to protect us, right? But yet they don't even know. They claim, they want us to believe they don't even know what they're dealing with. And when they're the perpetrators of all this to begin with.
Yes.
And as far as the mainstream news media, which is also controlled by the 1%, the narrative concerning all these sightings and everything is the same all across the board. The narrative is all the same, which means it's scripted. And they're only telling us what they want us to hear.
Yes.
And that false flag alien invasion is coming. And people will believe that it was aliens or extraterrestrials that attacked us. And then they can go ahead and form their one world order with no resistance because of the fear that they strike into the masses.
Yes. Yeah, this world's become a scary thing now.
Well, it doesn't get any better. It just keeps getting worse.
Yes, sir.
But it is what it is. And you talk about these things and they sound so bizarre that the majority of people don't believe it, They're nonchalant. They go about their own business. They exist within their own little bubbles. And that's fine. Until one day their little bubbles burst, and by then it's going to be too late.
Yes, sir.
We don't have any comments at all in here tonight. I don't know what's going on.
Yes, sir.
We'll make this a half hour then instead of an hour. We're not even getting any interaction.
All right. Yeah, it was too short notice.
Yeah, probably. It's hard to believe, though. Usually we get some viewers.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't make sense. Maybe the chat's not working. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Well, we got one Facebook user here. What are we talking about today? You can see it on the ticket there at the bottom. Tonight's discussion, the Hadron Collider, the atom smashing machine there. Well, we got one viewer. Oh, now we got two. Just went up. Oh, we're going big time, Donnie.
I hear you.
Yeah, like I'm saying, it sounds so bizarre, it's hard to believe.
Yes, sir. Well, with all these things going on, it's all about control. So.
Oh yeah. And what do they use mostly for control is fear.
Yes, sir.
It's all fear tactics.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, everybody's convinced they actually did abolish outright slavery years ago. But in all reality, people don't even realize that we are still slaves. We're all slaves, especially the middle class. We're slaves to to society. That's what we're slaves to.
Yes, sir.
to the laws and rules of society.
Well, that's what it's all from that video thing. That's what it's all going to turn into anyway. We'll all be slaves to the beast or whatever's left, you know.
Facebook users asking, do you all really know a lot about the Hadron Collider? Well, we know that it smashes atoms, that it's one big, huge, humongous experiment. But I don't even think those who are conducting the experiment knows what could probably happen if they tear open the fabric of space and time to an extent where it's irreparable. Who knows what the result's going to be? I can't claim to be an authority on that, but I don't think they can either. That's the problem. I don't think they know what they're playing with. They don't know what they're playing with. They're so hungry for power that they want to become the God that they so long believed in. And nature will never allow that. Man is so intelligent, in the end, he's going to outsmart himself.
So does anybody know exactly what the total goal of this thing is? What it's supposed to do?
Well, it's man's ego. What it's supposed to do is to, what they claim they're in search of is the God particle.
Yes.
Okay, now the Facebook user is saying hundreds of top scientists are wrong. It's been running for years. There's been several atom smashes in the world. They're dealing at the micro level. Yeah, I agree with that. But here's the kicker. The other experiments are not as intense as the one they use with the Hadron Collider, number one. And number two, the collider's been around for years. I agree with that. But even so, it's been around for that amount of time. It's never conducted many experiments. It's used on an experiment with a certain power level. Then it's stopped for 2-3 years, and they go another experiment, increase the power a little bit, downtime again to refurbish it, another 2-3 years. So they're doing it a little bit at a time, and each time they increase the power. So there's a difference, They claim that a nuclear weapon could tear the fabric of space, and I can agree with that. But what depends on the rip itself is with what intensity and how big the tear is. We have no idea what can happen. I don't think they know themselves. So whoever this Facebook user is, if you're more of an authority on this subject, why don't you school me on it and give me your opinion as to what they're looking for and what they're in search of? Okay, Higgs boson. Okay. All right. So what does that get them? What do they get? What reward? What is behind their efforts, and what reward are they getting in the end? They say it's all been good so far. Well, I did read an article about maybe 2 years ago during one experiment where one of the personnel there did disappear, and all that was left behind was the clothing. I don't know if you consider that good, if there's any truth to that story.
Yeah, what would happen if they entered into a black hole or something?
Probably get sucked in to who knows where, maybe oblivion. Now that says it's all been good so far. That's right. That's the key words there, though, so far. And you got to keep in mind that every time that they fire that up and conduct a new experiment, it's a more intense experiment with Power upgrade. Okay, trying to find the key elemental to life. Okay, so you're already alive, you're already here, you're already aware that you exist. That's not enough for you. You got to find the elemental to life. For what reason? You know, the facts are we're all born, we live, we die. You know, that holds true for all species. I mean, the stars themselves implode at one time. Nothing lasts forever. Why should we think that we should go through all this to be any different? Would be my question. Okay, one Facebook user is saying it's contained no black holes. Another Facebook user is saying they have made miniature black holes. Well, the question is, what is miniature versus massive? What would the results be? Guess you'd have to be a physicist to fully understand. Well, I mean, I just want to understand what they're looking for. I mean, what is it they're in search of? What reward do they think they're going to get out of it? Do you realize the billions of dollars that's gone into these experiments that could feed the homeless and house the homeless and feed the poor? I mean, come on. Man doesn't put his priorities in the right order. Man's intelligence will be his downfall. Man's so smart, he's going to end up outsmarting himself. Guaranteed. Well, I haven't read up on it extensively. Have you ever read up on their work? If you have, enlighten us. That's exactly right. The billionaires are not going to feed the poor. Well, they do. They do it in a deceptive way. You know, the poor think that, oh yeah, the government's taking care of us, but it's the middle class people that have to bear the brunt of throwing the poor people a bone through the payment of taxes.
Are they looking for immortality to where they can live forever without ever dying?
They're looking to destroy themselves without knowing it. Okay, that's my prediction.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Just a thought.
Dolly Saffron says they've been trying to make contained antimatter. So far, they have only made a few protons of it, 7 to 12 of them exactly. They lost containment and the protons disappeared. Well, like I said, we don't know what happens until we keep increasing the power, which may lead to a point of no return one of these days. Facebook users saying no to what? I don't know. But I mean, it's okay to experiment, you know, and discover different things, but I don't know. It sounds dangerous to me.
Yes, sir. And like you said, what reward are they looking for in the end?
Yeah, what is the end result? I mean, what is the reward? You know, that's the part that I don't understand. Facebook users saying, so no new topics. Well, what would you like to talk about, Facebook user? Pick a topic. So, Dolly, you say they're trying to make contained antimatter. What do they get out of contained antimatter?
It's
Well,
interesting.
Facebook users saying Donnie is quieter than ever. Quiet tonight, Donnie.
I'm learning. I'm just sitting back listening and learning because we're on a subject that I don't think anybody has the answers for yet or been given clear
Yeah.
enough.
Ollie
ideas
Saffron
what it is.
says they're containing energy. Hey, Vic Makarov, how you doing, Vic? Yeah, I don't know. This world is way off balance. That's all I know.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's also been said too that when they hear these droning sounds like in the air around the world, these people are hearing these groaning sounds.
Yes,
I
sir.
did a little bit of research on that, and it seems that it coincides when they're experimenting with the Hadron Collider. That's
Mhm.
when people are hearing them droning sounds around the world. I myself have never heard it, but there's been reports of other people hearing it.
Yes, sir. But yeah, I'm mostly a quiet person answering your question a while ago. I normally don't say a whole lot.
We could. And Dolly Saffron says ET Tech uses element 115 to fuel their gravity emitters. They believe it's a type of antimatter. Vic is asking, is the kaleidoscope or the Collier scope actually bringing in alien entities? I guess that's a possibility if you open portals, maybe. But I would think the aliens would have their own technology to, transform through dimensions. I don't think they need us to open a door for them. Facebook user says everyone's got theories, though. I guess that's true. Yeah, Dolly Saffron says they do. Yeah. It says to the stars and beyond someday. That's what all this is about. Star Trek stuff. We can't even straighten out the world we're living in, and we're in search of other worlds. Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Angel trumpets, the sound of angel trumpets. Well, we could change the topic there if you wanted to, Donnie. I mean, you were a preacher at one time. Would you like to talk religion?
Well, other than since they found hell on Mars or whatever, I mean, I guess that proves there's a God, you know, and they're hunting for God molecules or whatever. So,
Yeah, they
but then,
claim they're looking for the God particle, which I
yeah,
guess is the Higgs boson. I don't know.
yes, sir. Well, I've been through a lot in my lifetime, and I tried to log it down, but I didn't until the government switched me over and started torturing me with the same device they used to help me with all those years. When it switched
Yeah,
power is when everything started, which is alien technology. I've been abducted before too,
right.
and that's just, you know, the government. I don't understand.
Yeah. Facebook users saying depends on your perception. You can see the world however you want. Many don't think it's too bad. This is true. Candy's with us. Hi, Candy.
But that's what they've got me hooked to. They can view every day of my life. So, and that's what I basically wrote the book for, was to tell my experience with God and for the government to be able to view everything, you know, day by day. And my question is, why? Why is all this, you know? Other than it's just part of the enslavement thing. Jim, we lost you. As far as the collider goes, what if, are they reaching forward or backwards or for what they're looking for? You better
I know,
come back.
Donnie.
I'm all alone.
I know. I know, Donnie. I'm like a bad dream. I keep coming back.
Yes,
No, my
that's a good.
my internet is shaky tonight. I've been having thunderstorms in the area.
Yes,
We have a Facebook user asking, "Is outlaw for God like a street preacher?"
run that by me again.
Is outlaw for God like a street preacher?
No, it's just actually my testimony of God delivering me through different situations in life. Uh, at one time, the government tried to kill me, putting tractor trailers in the road with no lights on it, holding me in the outside lane, and the power of God allowed me to drive my truck through most of that tractor and trailer. As I run another tractor that was holding me in that hammer lane, passing lane, I run him out through the middle. So I mean, we're out off the interstate. So, and he told me when he come back on the road, he said, "You know, you didn't make that." I said, "That's right. I know I didn't make it either." But that happened to me twice out on the highway, and both times my tractor trailer went through the other one. So, but just stuff
Unscathed,
like
right?
that. Yes,
Unscathed, right? Yeah.
right. Yes, sir.
Candy's asking, ever hear of the eighth sphere or the abyss? I'm not too privy on it myself.
I don't.
One Facebook user's asking, didn't make what? I don't know what they're referring to. They're asking, what do you mean went through?
Materials passed through my body. I could feel it actually, and I wouldn't. It was a weird feeling. It was like you was there, but you weren't there. So, and my tractor trailer went right through it. And at one time, at a weigh scale, they got it on film to where a U-Haul trailer was being pulled by a Jeep Cherokee and run through my tractor all the way over to the gear shift and went through me. And he said, "You caused an accident out there." I said, "Well, you need to show it to me." He said, "I got it right there on the film." I said, "Well, ain't nothing wrong with my tractor." So And he looked at it. He said, "I don't believe that." I said, "Yeah." So that was the third time things like that happened. Actually, about the fifth time, but it's just happened, recurred over and over in my life. For what reason, I can't tell you, but it's just, I turn it over to God. I turn everything over to Him, regardless, because I have no control, really.
So they're asking, so you're saying you became transparent and went through physical matter?
Yes, something like that. Yeah.
And your truck was undamaged as well?
That's right. It was.
He said, "Too bad you didn't have a dash cam."
Yeah. Well, actually, what I'm hooked to, they can view every day of my life, so it's, and read my mind and brain and all that stuff and control me with it. So, I mean, basically, they've got one when they view my life. They can pull it up, view it. What it looked like from sitting in the driver's seat. But we're still talking about technology and stuff. So, I mean, it's the new world order and what everything's coming to. So,
Yeah, that would have been awesome if you had a dash cam.
yes, sir.
And then even if you had a dash cam, everybody'd be saying, "Oh, that's CGI."
They would. That was me, baby. I'm sorry. But yeah.
So you can't win either way, right?
That's right. It'd say it was Photoshop. That's it.
So Vic's asking, so the aliens and the government were working together to get at you?
The aliens, when I was captured by them, later in years, I went into law enforcement and I drove my rig. I was working with guys up north and they were interested in my stories and stuff. And the next thing you know, they told me to pull my rig in around the back, just follow some cars, and they led me around the back of the White House. They said, "Now shut it down." So I shut it down, and I woke up being interrogated by a general, and he used the same technology the aliens did, to where they could view every day of your life, stop your brain or memories, or put a memory in you that you didn't have. So, because I have one of them being on a motorcycle in Dallas Airport, riding down the airport, and I mean the runway, and I've never been on a motorcycle in Dallas. So, and that was either for a stop for the general that put it in me, or that was his signature saying he's the man that, he might have been the man on the motorcycle, that might have been his signature. So, but that's in my memory, and I've never did that.
Candy is asking, have you ever tried to exorcise these aliens from you and their control over you?
The alien really was not like a threat or anything, but the implants, they turned into a threat. But now whether the general used it, even though I was controlled all those years, they never violated none of my constitutional rights, other than joking in a picking way when they were talking to me on it. So I talked to them all the time on it and everything. So it's new technology. It's better than a cell phone. So they don't lose service.
Yeah. It's a strange world, I'll say that much.
Yes, sir. And then about 6 years ago, they started torturing me with it, cut my teeth out of my head with it, because they wanted to show me what power it did have. So they cut my teeth out of my head and run me out of the state of South Carolina with it. So all that's in the book too. So
Candy's asking, free will never violated?
free will.
Yeah, has your free will ever been violated?
I don't. Maybe.
Other than putting an illegal implant in you.
Yeah, they did that when I had a colonoscopy, 2 guys walked in instead of the doctor, and they put me to sleep, and they wasn't supposed to because I worked narcotics and stuff. So I was already working for the government when they decided to do the implant that time.
Vic is asking, what type of aliens were involved with your abduction?
The short grays. The best of my knowledge, I was like 12 or 13 years old then. And then I died when I was 16. And when they view it, they can see all that. They can see where I died. They can see heaven. They can see God. They can see all that stuff.
One Facebook user is saying, getting out of South Carolina don't sound bad, LOL.
I don't know. I was raised here. I kind of partial to it, but yeah, sometimes I wish I'd get out of it. But being a truck driver, I've been all over the United States. So
Candy says, yikes.
Yeah. But they can do some serious stuff with you. They hit you in your knees, your hips.
So now your connection with your connection now with the government, you refer to that as a halo?
Yes, a halo. That's what it's categorized as. When you go to jail, the first thing they ask you when they get ready to book you is, do you believe the government has something they control your thoughts and actions with? That's what they ask you. And that's the reason why they ask you. They want to know, are you hooked? And do you know you're hooked to this thing or not? Because it's everywhere. This thing, the general interrogated me back in the 80s. So when the federal agents was taking over the trucking business.
Oh yeah.
So that's when he hooked me to it. So, and then they started torturing me, like I said, about 6 years ago with it. But I moved the cartel from the upper bridge to the lower bridge in Brownsville, Texas. They give me total and complete amnesty. They run me through Richmond, Virginia, give me total complete amnesty. And then they started torturing me, which made absolutely no sense to me at all. But that's about the way it went.
Vic is asking, so the short grays were working independently with their involvement with you? In other words, they weren't working with the government?
No, because I was abducted from my bedroom and ended up on their ship, and they kept me a long time, and they tried to feed me intravenously through my stomach. They put something in my stomach, and I was still
like a feeding tube. Yeah.
Yes. And then they couldn't keep me alive, so they put me on another ship and brought me back. And I remember them having to line it up to make it to where they could come back at about the time they picked me up, and it was still about 24 hours later.
Candy's saying Akashic Records is what they view your past, present, future thoughts, actions, etc. Some humans can access that, as well as slightly higher density entities.
Yeah. When I was we was talking about preaching. I went to a Apostle Prophet gathering in Atlanta, Georgia, and the lady there, the guy that prophesied over everybody, prophesied over me, but it took him, I had to stand in front of him about 3 times. He kept saying, go sit down. I don't know who you are yet. So when I come back up, the prophetess kept saying, no, you go back up there. I want to hear what he's got to say. So anyway, he asked me, he said, why did you give up on an earthly dad for a heavenly father at such an early age? And I said, because I come from heaven. Why would I not want to return to heaven? So, and later she said, I don't like what he said. She said, I have 3 prophetesses. I want them to tell your life, view your life. And I said, okay. So they all 3 did. And they were all very accurate. And the last one said, you know, you're hooked to the beast. I said, yes, ma'am. I know I'm hooked to the beast. Been that way for years. She said, I cannot believe that you're sitting here and we're having this conversation and stuff. But I said, well, I was called out of the Old Testament. So that's where my calling comes from. So, but all that's in the book too.
Vic is asking, have the short grays been back since your abduction?
After I was abducted, I remember feeling, I don't know, like most people, floating experiences and that kind of stuff. But I mean, as far as being abducted or anything again, now. It never was nothing like that.
Do you have any recollection at all of the abduction? Is it fuzzy? Is it like, do you have any clarity as to what transpired during the abduction? Or
There's great mind skips in it, but they kept me so long, my brain did start computing what was going on. And they did use something on my head, or it felt like there was a band they put around my head where we could communicate with each other. And I remember being in a room that was, the whole place was very, very bright, but being in a place where I was just laying on a table and they kept me like what you call a bear hibernating. They kept me asleep just about all the time. But then it rolled me in a room that was like a laboratory, and there was little alien heads in the walls as they was being developed, and that's where they would extract fluids from all my organs and my knees and my hips, stuff like that.
yeah, it must have been like some type of biological experimentation, I guess.
Yes, sir.
And Vic's also asking, so they use telepathy to communicate with you?
Yes, sir, they did. And the thing about it is, with this thing I'm hooked to, the general that did the interrogation back in the 80s, he wanted to talk about my death and my alien abduction, as well as my law enforcement stuff. So I told him, I said, I'm local orange, and he said, you're a lot more than that. And I said, I am a lot more than that. He wanted to know, and I told him what other branch of government I was with, and he said, when I went out that time, when I come back to, I woke up in my truck.
Oh, yeah.
Then out on the highway, they said, we now own you and this truck. We see what you see. We hear what you hear. Whatever you want to do. And I said, believe me, we'll put this truck anywhere we want it. So
now, during your abduction, do you remember how much time was involved? Or
to me, it was like a month, but to them, it was like
that long.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Wow.
They tried to keep me alive.
Were you actually missing for a month? Like nobody knew where you were at, or?
No, it was like 24 hours here on Earth time.
Oh.
When I came back and went in the bed, my mom walked through the door and said, "Where have you been?" I said, "It's a long story, and I'm sick right now, and I don't feel good." So she started bringing me.
In other words, at the time, it seemed like a month to you.
Yes, sir.
Facebook is Facebook user saying, but they have mouths, tongues. I've never seen a tongue on an alien. Wondering if they got tongues. If so, could they talk? I would think. I think it's predominantly telepathic communications with the
That's
alien.
all. Yeah, through our minds. I remember seeing their face right in front of me because they'd talk to me as they was doing the experiments on me or drawing fluids off of me, and he would, at that point, he would get right in my face and talk to me and stop my mind on something happy. So they were using it for like pain control or something.
They're asking, did you starve to death or die of dehydration? Guess not.
No, that may have been what my problem was, because what they were trying to keep me alive with didn't work, or wasn't working.
Facebook user saying, but even in telepathy, there's a language. Vic says he heard that shot grays chirp like birds to communicate with one another.
I don't remember anything like that.
Well, lots of times it's a usual occurrence that most abductees, they don't remember much of anything during the abduction itself.
Right. I wouldn't remember it as much as I did, but they kept me so long, and my brain started logging it, as well as the government going in and looking at it, refreshing all that in my mind again.
Okay, Donnie, we're just about at the top of the hour. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Have you on again sometime. I'd like to
And
thank whoever's been viewing and interacting with us.
yeah, I thank all y'all.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to close the show now, and we'll see you all on the next one.